You know, some people enjoy composing their own music, chord by chord, and others are happiest when they come across that one perfect song. Work is not a lot different than that. Whether you prefer building your own workflow or using a pre-made template, with Monday.com, you and the team can work in a way that's comfortable for everyone. Tap the banner to go to Monday.com and build your own amazing workflow, or find an awesome template. No judgment.
Welcome to the RuPaul's Drag Race Recap Show for Season 14, Episode 12, titled Moulin Rouge, the Rusical. My name is Joe Betance, and I am joined, as always, by one misanthropic co-host. From the podcast pod is my co-pilot. Please say...
Come to my club, pay me money, and watch my bitches dance.
To Taylor the... To Taylor the Latte Boy. Hello, Taylor the Latte Boy. How are you?
Hey, how are you, Joe? How have you been? What's new? What's going on?
Oh, that's right. You were not here last week. You were busy riding the rides at Disneyland. Oh, no,
yes,
Disney World.
I haven't listened to the episode yet.
Disney World.
Disney World, yes. Yeah. If I was at Disneyland, I would have had you come along and be my personal tour guide.
It's funny that you say that. I recently saw a video from the Magic Kingdom at Disney World. And, which is something we don't really call, we just call it Disneyland. The Magic Kingdom here, they just call it Disneyland. And,
right.
I saw the castle, I'm like, wow, that castle's so fucking big. And I was thinking, like, Taylor's gonna be so disappointed when he sees.
You say that every single time.
Well, because I know, you know why. It's just...
But I would, even if I thought at this point, if I would say that to you, I would say it with a wink and a smile. But ultimately, I would love to be able to stand in Disneyland with you and just kind of take it in, and then have you say, well, this is where we go and this is what you avoid and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Look, there's an old saying here in the Disney world, in the Disney universe, you know, it's not the size of the castle, it's how you float your moat. I don't know. I'm working on that still. But, yeah, we'll figure that out. I'm sure people will write it.
It's not the size of your puppet. It's how good he lies.
I tell the truth. But you know, Taylor, a couple of things.
Okay.
We have this amazing community over at patreon.com/afterthoughtmedia, and they are listening live as we speak, talking to each other about what we're talking about, but also not what we're talking about at all. And, and also there's all kinds of bonus content, lots of stuff. You know, you guys have heard me talk about it before. Patreon.com/afterthoughtmedia. And, but we've launched a new thing, and I kind of rambled about it last week, but I want to explain it better this time. Now, if you're one of these people who you're like, I don't want to sign up for Patreon. I don't want that. Also, I don't care if I get the show early, which is what you get at Patreon. I don't care. I'm not going to listen until Monday anyway. I don't care if I get the commercials or not, right? I want to hear about BetterHelp and all that, you know? I don't care. But I do want to hear this Just Between Us Girls. I've always wanted to hear Just Between Us Girls. So now, for about the same price that you pay for premium, you can get Just Between Us Girls on Apple Podcasts. All you have to do is right where the show, go to the show page, click subscribe, and not only will you get the latest episode of Just Between Us Girls, I've already posted, they're already there. They've been there for a week. Every single episode of this season of Just Between Us Girls. So we just we just did episode 12 of Just Between Us Girls. The previous 11 already there, waiting for you. Right there. And I don't have to give a website. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, all you got to do is scroll up and listen. I also made a mistake last week, Taylor. I said season 4 was coming. Season 3 is coming to this same thing too. Season 3. Then, you know, you and I are in the middle of season 4. But
Yes.
you and I are in the middle of season 4, which the exclusive tier is getting. But season 3 is already finished, wrapped, done, and that's gonna be coming to this feed as well. All right, Taylor. This week, the queens lip sync the house down in Moulin Rouge, the Rusical, and on the runway, the category is Mirror Mirror. Lady Camden's named the winner of the challenge, while Bosco and Georges square off in a lip sync battle for their lives. Georges has told Shantae, "You stay," but in an anticlimactic moment, Bosco has the golden candy bar and lives to see another day. Taylor the Latte Boy from Florida. Name 2 things you liked about the episode and 1 thing you did not. Do not say gay. Do not say gay. I don't want you to get in trouble or go to jail. But tell me 2 things about the episode and 1 thing you did not.
Cocksucker. I didn't say gay. I said
That's
cocksucker.
true. Yeah.
Well, the 2 things this faggot liked was I liked the Rusical. I am normally not a big fan of the Rusical, and I thought this might have been one of the better ones that they've done, if not the best one they've done in a long time. Mm-hmm. There was something slightly different about it that I appreciated. So different camera angles. There was a story that made sense through the whole thing. The use of people other than the queens with Leslie Jordan and Leland, I thought that was interesting, that sort of stuff. The other thing that I liked was after 12 episodes, we seemed to have a real storyline where that seemed like there was actual drama between Bosco and Lady Camden. And it extended through most of the episode. It wasn't just eye rolling like we've seen with Jasmine and Daya. Mm-hmm. The thing that I did not like, the thing that I did not like.
Oh, let me tell you this. Someone said like, "Oh, did you guys hear a noise?" And I was just like, "It's just Taylor screaming from Orlando, or from well, no, you don't live in Orlando, but from whatever part of Florida he lives in, Tampa or whatever, St. Pete's, wherever Taylor lives. Right. That's where we heard the yell from."
Unfortunately, I had spoiled it for myself, so I knew it was. I knew it was coming.
Yeah, you did.
But that was later. But this is ridiculous at this point. The fact that we are 12 episodes in and there are still 7 girls. Mm-hmm. It's exhausting at this point. And I love Bosco. I am definitely Team Bosco. So I am glad if anybody got it, it was her. Mm-hmm. I'm ready for this group to be whittled down. I have certain ones that I'm waiting for them to say, "Oh my God, just get rid of them."
I'm wondering if they're going to go into let's work out the math. Okay. So now we're going to episode. So there are only 16 episodes, right? So let's work this out.
Are you sure of that?
Yes. And then there are only 16 episodes. So now we're going to 13. They're going to have, when they leave, let's just presume, after episode 13, there will be 6 girls, right? Mm-hmm. After episode 14, there will be 5 girls. But the problem is, 15 is historically a reunion. So do you think they're going to either get rid of 2 or go into a finale with 5 girls?
I've thought of that. I don't know exactly how they would do that. We also, next week is a roast. We still haven't done the makeover challenge yet.
We haven't done the makeover challenge yet. And also, that doesn't work out math-wise because, yeah.
There's no way there's only 16 episodes.
Well, supposedly, I don't know if this is confirmed. Supposedly, they're filming the finale April 6th in Vegas, and the finale is always airs 2 weeks after they film it. And that's in 2 weeks. Yeah,
and that would be the day before. That would be the Wednesday before, because April 8th. I'm going back to Disney actually to see my sister. So that's a Friday. So that gives one episode.
People don't know that Taylor's sister is Snow White. So he has to go visit her there.
No, she's the Wicked Queen.
I didn't want to say that. That was the first joke that went to my brain. I'm like, yeah, it's not kind of a nice thing to say about Taylor's sister.
No, I'll say it. I'll say it. And so if they were to film the finale, then that would be spoiling the last. That could be potentially spoiling the last four. Because I would assume if they're going to Vegas, then there would be an audience.
Let me go to this calendar. Hold on. Going to the calendar. Okay, so in the calendar, let me see. So next Friday is going to be the April Fool's is going to be episode 13, right?
Which is the roast. Yes.
And then, this is not unusual for them. So April 6th would be episode 14, which is when the new, they've done that before when I've gone, where the new episode where you find out who the finals are before the final group of girls are before the finale drops the same day they film the finale. So, that could work mathematically.
So they release it on a Wednesday instead of a Friday?
No, they release it on a Friday. I've been there actually multiple times where they'll air the episode while you're in the audience. So you know what's going to happen. So you know who the girls are. So that could in theory work.
I can tell you that in the chat room, somebody is releasing spoilers that they have redacted, that are blacked out. And it is all I can do to not click on it right now.
Well, that's up to you.
No, I'm not going to. Eventually, other people will say stuff and it'll go away and I won't see it. But at this point, I am curious.
I used to do spoilers and the rumor mill and stuff like that, but I stopped doing that because I think with how many episodes they do, it's important for me to have fun. If I don't have fun, then it's just a slog.
Well, and that kind of, unfortunately, that's sort of this is really the only spoiler that I have looked at, and it was a big spoiler as far as the gold bar.
Yeah.
So I think that I would have been more excited for Bosco had I not known that that's what was going to happen. But I even knew who won, who were the bottom two.
Oh, you knew all that.
Yeah, I knew that whole last little segment. Unfortunately, I was aware of what was going on.
See, I intentionally stayed away from that stuff.
Yeah. So, and it was one of those, I forget the name of the YouTube channel, but it came up and it was like a minute 40 and I wasn't paying attention. And if you on your computer, if you hover the mouse over it, it does a preview and it was just words. So then by the time I looked up, I was like, oh shit. So, but whatever. What about you? What were the two things you liked and the one thing you did not?
I actually really liked the category for the runway, Mirror Mirror. And then I love this Leslie Jordan.
He's pretty awesome.
He's pretty rad. And the thing I didn't like, and I'll go into depth about it when we talk about it.
Oh, okay. A teaser, as it were.
The sheer hubris of this Leland who wrote the musical and then to cast himself as, first of all, we're being generous calling ourselves a twink, right? Very.
Okay, wasn't even getting the twink. I was thinking his haircut is a little young for him. I did think that at one point.
Well, yeah, and also it was just Queen, maybe she was a twink in 2004. When Lori Roggenkamp was doing that really horrible racist tour that she was doing, the Cotton Pickin' Angry tour. But no, I was like that would be as if I wrote a musical, and I was I'm playing the role of the skinniest person ever. No, that would be even funny because people are like, oh, he's being funny. This is what
unironically.
He was not being ironic. He was I'm the hot lead. I'm sure the producers were like, well, Leland, I guess maybe you should do it. And he's like, oh, me? I mean, I guess.
What?
I mean, because they could they're in Los Angeles. They could throw a rock and hit a twink with credits.
Okay, but you also figured this was during COVID So is this something where they were trying to keep as much of a bubble on production as possible?
Yeah, but
so
then they could have gotten that calyx. You know?
Say that again?
They could have gotten that calyx, that pit crew guy calyx. They could have gotten another pit crew member.
Oh, and just had them lip sync?
Yeah.
Well, maybe they tried that.
I don't know. It was.
How old do you think Leland is?
You know? You looked it up?
I know. I looked up his age.
35.
Close, 34.
Yeah. I was going to say 34, but I'm like, I'll go 35. Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well. All right. The next day, the queens marvel at Jasmine's long-winded mirror message, and Jasmine cheers on everyone but Diabetti. Next, RuPaul entered the workroom to announce this week's Maxi Challenge. It's a Rusical. The queens will star in a spoof of the musical Moulin Rouge called Moulin Rouge. The queens need to duke it out to assign the following roles. First, we have Saltine. She's the tragic showgirl. Mama Z, the bearded owner of Moulin Rouge. The Green Fairy, a genie in a bottle of absinthe, and four scene-stealing showgirls named Charisma, Uniqueness, Nerve, and Talent. Taylor, any big thoughts on the little opening bit here and the assigning of the Maxi Challenge?
I kind of love that there was no pre-intro. I kind of love that it went right into the theme song.
Yeah.
After they said the previously on. Mm-hmm. It was something a little different. It caught my attention because we've talked about how that scene is just so it's the same thing every single week. Mm-hmm. So I would love to see them mix that up a little bit more in future seasons or through the rest of this, the rest of the season where they just kind of go right into it. Mm-hmm. The Jasmine putting Angie, Deja, and Georges, I just wrote, that's your top three? Like that sort of surprised me that those would be the top three that she would pick. Because I feel like there's definitely stronger competitors.
Deja and Georges. I don't know. I'd put Deja there. Are we sure Deja?
I don't know that I'd put Georges there.
Are we sure? But it makes more sense than Deja. Are we sure Deja didn't sneak in and write that part in the mirror herself? I could totally see her doing.
Yeah. You guys all go ahead. I left something back in the workroom. I'll be right back.
Guys, I'll talk about it when we get to the next. I don't want to talk. I get mad when people talk out of the moment we're talking about, but there's a moment with Deja in the workroom just like, girl, give it a rest. Okay.
When Rue comes in, or when Rue does the video message, mm-hmm. I had, and I believe it was Deja somebody says, are we going to Paris? Sort of thing. Mm-hmm. It led me to have a brief fantasy in my mind of the way they used to do it. When they got down to the bottom, usually like 6 girls on Top Model, mm-hmm. they would take them someplace international.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I know this will never, ever, ever happen. Mm-hmm. But how cool would it be to have something where where they almost like switch series, or like the girls from, the top girls from the flagship show, they go, we're going to the United Kingdom, and then they compete on an episode, or they do a makeover challenge with the girls from UK that may be mm-hmm. filming. I know it's never going to work in my head, but I allowed myself that brief fantasy for like 30 seconds. I'm like, that would be really cool if they could do something like that.
But that's a good idea. That's a good, here's the show idea. Mm-hmm. Where you do like a little mini All-Stars, like a one-off, like a Christmas special, right?
Yeah.
And you have like some old ass people, whoever used to be on the show, but they're competing for the 2 slots on UKV The World, and it goes right up against UK, right before UK versus The World, and the 2 winners of that challenge are now the competitors on UK versus The World.
So almost like Resurrection on Dragula.
Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh, so then my idea isn't as crazy as I thought it was, but it just would be, or you could even have, this could have been easily something, if you're doing cross promotion, and I don't know where they are in production, but if this was the makeover challenge, you could have had the girls that are going to be on Drag Race France come, and they be the queens that our queens make over.
Yeah, that would be a good idea too. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Come on, people, World of Wonder people listening, chop. Get on it. I don't really have any thoughts on anything that happened. Not much really happens. I mean, it's just they're just like, oh, look, she wrote a message and Daya's but her. But then again, it's one of these things where, I don't know how really butthurt she is. I mean, she does have a really good tag at the end, like, oh no, that's during the elimination day. But the point is, like, yeah, I'm here, she's not. So,
yeah,
whatever.
And I feel they're trying really hard for the Daya villain edit.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, you know, we've kind of watched how they pull the strings and grab eye rolls that have nothing to do with, we talked about last week where they said, you know, and the lip sync wasn't even that good. Your lip sync wasn't even that good, sort of thing. And the reactions, I feel like they are struggling to come up with a villain, and Daya is giving them just enough to where they go, oh, we can work with this. But I don't get, it doesn't feel as mean spirited as like Fifi, you know, where it felt like the way that they portrayed Fifi or even Raven, the way they portrayed the two of them, it was just, they were horrible. The characters were horrible people.
I know.
Whereas this one, it just feels like she's just sort of like she doesn't have an edit button, and she just sort of says things and rolls her eyes, and
it could also
she's
be
frustrated.
But also it could be this thing where they know where the editors are taking it, and they're sort of playing into it. Like, for instance, not to give a peek behind the curtain, but I don't really hate Lori Roggenkamp, you know. But I could see me doing. It's more of a strong, I'm just annoyed by her. But I could see a thing where I'm all like, good luck, Taylor, Adam Salandra, Adam Burns, Jay Ellis, and Christian and Robert.
Mm-hmm.
And Nathan Brown. You know, but the point, I never thank Lori. I just don't invite Lori.
Right.
Yeah, I could see myself doing that same thing, which I will 100% do, by the way. All right, in the workroom, the girls listen to the Rusical and announce which roles they want. Daya snags uniqueness, Deja takes nerve, and Willow gets green fairy. Angeria and Georges face off for talent, but Angeria backs down and takes charisma. Meanwhile, Bosco and Camden battle over who will portray Saltine. In order to break the impasse, the other contestants take a vote, and Bosco walks away with the role of Saltine. That leaves the role of Mama Z to Camden. Taylor, let's talk about everything that happened here in the workroom. Any big thoughts here?
I guess the one question that I had was Bosco and Lady Camden arguing for the part of Saltine is, this is what I do. I'm a burlesque dancer. I'm a singer. I'm a dancer. I exude sex, all that sort of stuff. At this point, Rue knows you can do that because that's probably part of the reason why she picked you to be one of the contestants on the show. Why would you want to shoehorn yourself into doing a character like this versus showing that you have versatility, showing that you can do that, that you've always been known as a dancer, but you're also a comedy queen, you know, or that you've always been a comedy queen, but you know what, I'm going to give, you know, I could see like somebody that isn't a good dancer, them saying in a positive way, you know, you clearly didn't know what you were doing as far as the dancing, but we believed you and you were trying as hard as you could. And we appreciated that, you know, it just felt very, I need this role because I need to be safe because I need to continue coming here. So I don't want to do anything outside of my shell.
Well, I think so basically a different viewpoint on what you said. It could be she just came off an episode where she was almost eliminated and she wants to play to her strengths to remind them of how good she is. Now, it didn't work out, you know, but I think that's what she was thinking she would do. I think that was sort of the thought process there. It's weird because we, you know, remember when they were talking in confessionals about Bosco's personality, this person that we saw come out does not really correspond to the person that you would think before she was a shrinking violet. And that's what they were worried about. And now she's like, fuck no. How much of this do you think was not producer driven, but the producer saying, don't give up. I don't want one of you on this one. I don't want you guys to give up. I want you guys to really hash this out.
I could see that being the case. I also remember, you talking about similar situations on the show, which depending on the contestant, the music that played behind it kind of dictated the emotions you're supposed to feel. I also watched a video yesterday that was like the top 10 shadiest edits on RuPaul's Drag Race. And they were talking specifically about Latrice on All Stars whatever All Stars, the second one that she was on with Manila. And it's not the shade rattle, but it's the like the cymbal noise, and how often they played that for when she said things, which it was supposed to be where you thought of that as sort of a shady, she was doing something shady or she was doing something underhanded. And it was something like over the course of the time she was on the show, they did that noise like something like 65 times or something. It was like egregious sort of thing. So I feel like this conversation, because, you know, you could also say the same thing for Camden, as far as we haven't really seen Camden get this putting her foot down.
Yes.
But I feel like what you said as far as the producers, but I also feel like the music was, we never saw the one comment where Camden said something along the lines of, you know, this is a lot of lines and I know I won't have a problem with them. And Bosco responded with, well, yeah, because you don't have to study them because it's mine. I feel like that could have been a moment in which that could have been a chuckle between the two of them, but they were taking angry faces from both of them to make it look worse than it was.
True, but also to go with what I was saying is that Camden says this very quickly under her breath, and I think in the same line that you're talking about, she says, "Oh, I know I can do Lady Z very, very well. I could do either one of these roles, but I want Saltine." So I'm like, knowing Camden's personality and the way that the chemistry that these girls have with each other, I could see Camden maybe not being happy about it, but going, I can do Lady Z as well. Is that what her name? Mama Z.
Mama Z.
I could do Mama Z as well. I'll just fucking do that, right? But I feel like it seems a little like, because also how convenient, I was thinking, that Mama Z and Saltine are almost adversarial in the number. That it corresponded to their characters. It wasn't like one wanted Nerve and one wanted Saltine. They were fighting over the two most prominent roles, which is funny that nobody wanted the other prominent role.
Yeah, I also found it not interesting, but when Camden did finally with the vote, which I thought was an interesting way to do it. We've sort of seen that with last season where I feel like people auditioned for a role, but this one they just kind of said, well, who do you think? Camden's response of, you know, you better kill this if you're going to do this, I thought was a very interesting response. And if you don't, you owe me $5,000 kind of thing. Was just, we've never seen that part before, as far as we've never seen a response like that before. We've often seen kind of more passive aggressive responses or sour faces, that sort of stuff. But the actual anger of, fine, I'm going to do it, but you better fucking blow it out of the water. You know, don't, you know, I've had situations with people which I've agreed to something and I have said to them, don't fuck me on this one. And that's kind of what that felt like Camden was saying to Bosco in that moment.
By the way, Taylor's talking about me. He told me that the earliest week of the phone call we had. We talked on the phone this week and he literally said, don't fuck me with this. And I was like, oh.
And I was sitting at the end of the table and had on a big fur hat.
Yeah. He's like, don't fuck with me, Betance. This ain't my first time at the rodeo.
And you needed a movie star to sell your podcast.
Yeah. I will go out publicly.
The sword cuts both ways.
And I was at the end of the table going like, surely you can't be serious, Mr. Latte Boy. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh, that was what I was going to say, and I want this to be known, okay? I am not saying that the producers fabricated this whole thing. I think the producers just said, you guys are not allowed to back down. And I think Camden really did take it personally and really did want this role and really did want to win the vote and really was butthurt. I think all the emotions you're seeing are genuine. I just think it landed up that way because the producers would not allow them to back down.
Yeah. I can see that.
They orchestrated this, but the emotions are very, very real. You know, It reminds me, we talked about this on UK versus the World, where early on Jimbo told Lemon, I'm not voting for you. And they got really mad. They got really mad and said, you can't do that. You have to like legit, like pretend like she doesn't know and stuff like that. All right, Taylor, why don't we do this? Why don't we take a break? And when we come back, we will discuss the rest of the episode.
Amy Poehler. My new movie, Disney and Pixar's Inside Out 2, is coming to theaters June 14th, and it's making me feel joy and sadness and anger, definitely some disgust, and I think a little fear. But I'm also feeling these new emotions like anxiety, embarrassment, envy, and ennui.
It's what you call the boredom.
Okay, that one was weird. It's going to be the feel everything movie of the summer. Disney and Pixar's Inside Out 2. Rated PG. Parental guidance suggested. Only in theaters June 14th. Get tickets now.
My favorite all-time donut is always a jelly donut, but I also like a chocolate glazed donut. I like a regular glazed donut. Cake, like just like a plain, like yellow cake fried donut. And a cruller. I like a cruller. Those are my top. I have never had a Wawa donut before.
Yeah! If you guys ever wanted to know what we talked about during the break, you literally heard it before this music came on. You're probably listening to a commercial and then you just heard Taylor listing donuts. That's what happens during the break. Mm-hmm. Is Taylor just lists donuts while I go to the restroom, get a glass of water or something. I come back, Taylor is just listing donuts.
And beating my dick like it owes me money.
Oh, yeah,
just
yeah.
talking
Yeah.
about donuts.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a whole thing that was going on here. I was like, I don't know what is happening there. It's elimination. Oh, no, it's over on the main stage. The surprise guest director turns out to be none other than Leslie Jordan. Gay icon Leslie Jordan. Bosco picks up the choreo. You know what's so mean about this? Is you see these articles now where they show Leslie Jordan as this young, strapping man with him. Have you seen those pictures?
No.
Oh, you haven't seen the picture? Look up young Leslie Jordan. He posted it and the fucking internet went wild. But if I was Leslie Jordan, my feelings would be so hurt because they're all like, ha 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 ha, look at this ugly troll, old troll used to be hot kind of thing, right? Anyway, Bosco picks up the choreo quickly and Jiria gets nicknames for her dance moves. Georges is finally taller than someone and Camden's ballet background finally gets to shine. Let's wait for Taylor to see these pictures of young Leslie Jordan.
He looks like Robin Williams.
Do you have the hots for Robin Williams?
No. But this picture, it looks like Robin Williams.
People were thirsty over it. It's elimination day and the queens get ready for the runway. The girls discuss how much they've rehearsed. Camden regrets how stubborn she was about the role of Saltine now that she loves the role of Mama Z. Georges hates musicals. Meanwhile, Bosco's grandma taught him how to dance and Georges used Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon to learn how to move. All right, we're covering 2 segments here, Taylor, because so little happened. But let's talk about that rehearsal first. Your thoughts on Leslie Jordan, your thoughts on Miguel Zarate, and on Leland as these guest directors here in this moment.
Leland, I did not even really kind of recognize he was there. He just felt like he was just sort of sitting there. Leslie Jordan is a delight. That is where he is just somebody who you just can't. He is somebody who at a dinner party I would want to be seated next to. Yeah, if for no other reason that he hear things under his breath and then we would both get in trouble for laughing, kind of thing. He was always a character that was, when he was on Will and Grace, was hysterical, playing Beverly Leslie. This Miguel, is this the first time we've seen him as a choreographer?
Know. How the fuck should I know?
Because you are produced a show about this.
Meh. They bring in these, if I remembered every time I saw a dancing Latino, I'd have no other room for other memories.
I will say this. I thought he was great as a choreographer. Yeah, again, kind of speaking very Jamal Sims in his style of let's see what you can do. If you miss a step, I'm not going to chastise you in front of everybody. I am going to do the things that, I need to do to help you to succeed versus try to tear you down. Unlike he who shall not be named.
Someone posted this picture of Todrick on Discord. I guess I didn't know he had an MTV show.
He does?
7 years ago, like 7 or 8 years ago, he had a 1 season. I will say, I hate when they do that, when the listeners do this. Well, hold on. If the person who posted this, calm the fuck down. But they go like, you don't know why I'm saying I hate when you do this, right? They'll put up like, oh, I would love for Joe to hate watch this, right? And usually I'm like, I don't care. But this one I was like, I really fucking would love to fucking hate watch this fucking show, this fucking Todrick. It would just literally be, I would call the show I Hate Todrick. And it was,
that could be a limited. That could be. This could be your next Sydney Gaze.
Well, you're right, because it's 8 episodes. That's exactly what I need for a holiday hiatus show. But this no, I just even the stupid fucking. Can someone repost a picture of this so Taylor can see it? The smug fucking picture of this asshole. And now I love it though. He's been exposed and the world sees it. I just saw, and you know what too? Fuck gay media. And let me tell you what I mean. They will fucking bend over backwards for any faggot who has a story to tell. Because this Out magazine did this puff piece on Todrick yesterday, where he's like, Todrick Hall confesses his regrets about Big Brother, and and talks about how there's a difference between like a character and your real person. I'm like, no, we saw the real. Yeah, we do know there's a difference between a character. But we saw the real one on this celebrity Big Brother. You piece of shit, Todrick Hall. Good. I don't know, Taylor. And I'm gonna tell this right now, and I'm being completely honest. Carson Kressley is not here today. He's not. I know sometimes he makes appearances. He is not going to be here today. I promise you. Okay. This is not something that's like, I'm being funny and Carson's going to nope. Carson will not be here today, right? But I bet you this Carson would have so much to say about this Todrick Hall. What a piece of shit he is. I don't like him.
Really?
No, I don't like this Todrick. I've never liked him. The only good thing he ever did was hire that lion for that music video. I don't know who that lion is. He was supposed to. You know who he is.
Shit, his name's JoJo something.
Oh yeah.
Occasionally he comes up on Instagram Reels, and I recognize him immediately, and then I go and I look at his pages, and it's
my Instagram Reels are twinks doing that eye color challenge.
Oh, mine are all pug videos and stand up comedy and like gay daddies with their shirts off, like lip syncing to some comedy thing.
Mine are all twinks doing the eye color challenge, where about the guy, it's Bruno Mars song, right? And they're always surprised by their eyes, right? And then there are these two fucking annoying. Look, I love me a twink, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there are these two fucking annoying twinks. They're a couple.
Just two?
Well, I know, but they're a couple. Uh-huh. And one of them's French. I think his name's Nicky or something.
Yes, I know exactly where he always has his lips like he always has like the little tiny lips, and he's yes, I know exactly.
Oh, those two can go fuck themselves. They do probably fuck themselves, but
right.
I don't know. I thought of very offensive things that would really turn off a lot of people that I want to happen to them. Just whatever you think the most offensive thing is that could happen to them, that's what I want to happen to them.
Dial it up to 12, and that's what Joe is thinking of.
Right? Yeah. And I hate them. I don't even know why Instagram keeps putting their videos in my. I never look
because
at them.
because you paused once to watch them, and then they go, "Oh, this is something that he likes." I've done that before, unfortunately, with things where Babalu will ask me a question and I'll look up and then realize that I've watched something 3 times, and then that becomes for a while. So then it becomes something where when I realize that what it is, I scroll through it really quickly.
Unfortunately, there's one that I do not like. This guy, there's this twink. I don't like him, but I do watch this video because he looks a lot like Aiden. So I'm like, so I watch those videos. I think he's straight, but he looks like he could be a faggot, right? And he does like these like dancing. He's like this twink who dances, right? And sometimes I watch his videos, but I hate him too. I pretty much hate all the twinks on there. Thank you.
Which is ironic, but okay.
No, you know what I'm learning? I wish there was someone I could talk to about this. Here's what's weird, Taylor, and I think we discovered this together, me and you on a show, or it could have been with somebody else. Is somebody asked me about the celebrities that I like? Oh yeah, it was when I was in Just Between Us Girls with Jay Ellis. This is what's really weird. It taps into like my inner psychology, and I don't understand it. But if you were to ask me celebrities, all my celebrities are around my age.
Yeah.
All my celebrity crushes are age appropriate. You know, they may have been former twinks, but like, I don't like twink celebrities. This Timothée Chalamet? No. Tom Holland? No. Tom Daley? No. Like any twink celebrity, it's unusual for me to like a twink celebrity, you know?
Well, you're being very generous calling Tom Daley a twink.
Well, I'm just saying the people who like twink like Tom Daly, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like a lot of these twinks, I'm not in. Like, I think Brent Corrigan is 100 times hotter now than he was when he was a twink. There's something that in my celebrity, I like people around my age, but there's something though, I just love a beautiful twink. I don't understand.
Well, you can appreciate youth. And maybe that's what you're more wired into. And you're not when like twink celebrities, that is not natural the way that we see them where they're photoshopped and they're dressed in like, major fashion and all that sort of stuff. Whereas you see like, a 19-year-old with 6-pack abs and doinger shorts running down the street, you might be a little like, oh yeah.
Maybe,
kind of
but I wish it were the opposite though. I wish in my real life, I like that, like Ryan Phillippe, but, and then appreciated twink porn, but it's really, really strange. Back to the show. Miguel's
I have a question for you. Okay. So I thought he was a really good choreographer, basically.
Yeah.
So at one point there is a quote that I do not know if you would get it or not, or especially a lot of our listeners would get where the reference from the quote, but it is fame costs. And this is where you start paying in sweat. What is that from? I think Bosco, I think it's Bosco that says it.
Okay. Let me say this. I don't know, but hold on. I don't know, but I know you, right? Mm-hmm. And you love the 80s. So I'm going to guess at can I guess one guess or two guesses? How many do I get?
You can have two guesses. Multiple people have already gotten it in the chat room. So which is why I love our chat room. So
okay. I'm going to say it's either Flashdance or the movie Fame.
Fame.
Oh, okay. There you go.
It's Fame. And then that was something that Debbie Allen's character always said in the beginning of the TV show. They always showed a clip of her saying that.
Oh, okay.
So yes. I loved that show when I was a kid because faggot, but yes.
I never watched it as a kid. Was it a good show?
No, it was a horrible show, but to my 13-year-old gay ass, it was Shakespeare.
Yeah.
So what were your thoughts on Georges not liking musical theater? Because I know that you are a big musical theater guy.
Again, you know what? I don't know if I've told this story on the show, but it's a philosophy in these times that I really, really, really stick to. But I have a friend whose mother has a very strong Cuban accent. She's obviously from Cuba. Very strong Cuban accent. Who's very sensitive about people making fun of her accent. Very sensitive. I've known this my whole life. She will get very, very, very upset. And they were at the house of a friend, the family, and the daughter, who was in her late teens, early 20s at the time, of the friend. Okay. Nina. Her name's Nina. Nina straight up made fun of my friend's mom's Cuban accent. Oh. And the mom said nothing. Right? And she looked there, I go, why didn't you, Nina made fun of your accent. Why didn't you get mad? And she was like, she's an idiot. Right? And, right? And I have done that philosophy now, like where like, especially when I have friends that I love who are super Republican, and I'm just like, she's an idiot, right? And so it's the same thing here with George. It's like, she's proven in other episodes, she's just a stupid fucking idiot. Like, what this bitch is dancing and punching the ghost at stupid ass shit, right? And but she hates musicals. I'm like, what is the big difference, really? Thank you.
Were you surprised that people in the room had never heard of that movie before?
No, it's one of those movies that was a huge hit, right? But yet is forgotten, And I'm guessing that Georges' mom is our age, It reminds me of, or younger. I told you in Just Between Us Girls that I saw The Batman, right? Mm-hmm. And the Batman is played by Robert Pattinson, right?
Right.
And of course, the murder of Batman's parents is a huge plot point in this, right? And they show, and so like, oh yeah, the Batman's, and it takes place in the modern age too. Right. Batman's parents, this and that, and then they show her gravestone, and she was born in 1976. And I was like, Anyway.
Yep.
Which, by the way, isn't Robert Pattinson like 30 years old?
No, he's got to be older than that. Those movies are like 10, 15 years old.
Computer, how old is Robert Pattinson?
Robert Pattinson is 35 years old.
Oh, he's 30. Okay, so Robert Pattinson is 35. Yeah. And then let's take it, if this takes place in the modern era. So that means in 2004, he was, I can't do math.
Well, but
18. He was
18.
Yeah, no. That was 18 years ago. That means he was like 17. I think in the movie he's like 11 or 12. So they're shaving a significant amount of time off his age.
Right. He's not playing a 35-year-old in the movie. He's playing like somebody in his late 20s, early 30s. So that all matches up.
All right. Anyway, well, see, Elimination Day. The girls discuss how much they've rehearsed. Who cares? Cameron forgets how stubborn she was. No, she doesn't. She knew the entire time. Georges hates musicals. And then the grandma taught him how to dance. Oh, yeah, Crouching Tiger. Okay, so we've covered all the Elimination Day. All right. It is time for Moulin Rouge. Oh, you know what I forgot to talk about? Let me bring this up now. When they were going back to when they were choosing the roles. And Deja was like, well, first of all, Deja wanted a role that nobody wanted, but she was acting like everybody wanted it. But she's like,
well, that just seemed like she was triggered after the 60s girl group challenge, that she was like, I'm not letting myself get talked out of anything.
Oh yeah, which makes sense. But then she was like, guys, and she makes a point. You know, the last time I gave her the role that I wanted, right? Okay, and I won the snatch game. Well, okay, what does that mean?
Okay, but you know what? You're going to milk that if you're the only one that was on that didn't have to lip sync, you're going to milk that until everybody looks at you and goes, okay, enough.
But it just reminds me when you get one of like the nerd, the little, like you make the little shy nerd, like the class, the hall monitor, and all of a sudden they wield that power. Deja's the kind of person that becomes a cop, is what I'm trying to say. I'm like, all right.
Give a small person a small amount of power, they think they are powerful.
Yeah. It was kind of Boo Hecker-ish. And for those of you who don't know who Boo Hecker is, go to season 9. Is it, guys? You guys remember better than I do. Is it season 9, episode 10 or 11? One of the two. Oofa, right? Anyway, Moulin Rouge the Rusical on the main stage, the Queen's debut. Moulin Rouge the Rusical. Your thoughts on the Rusical, Taylor?
Like I said, I really liked it. I liked that they used different camera angles. Mm-hmm. We were surprised before it started. Babalu said, "Why isn't Leslie Jordan the judge this week? I don't understand." Yeah, that was who we had no idea who she was. Mm-hmm. But then when he walked up on the stage, then we got it. We're like, oh well, that makes perfect sense. Mm-hmm. That does make perfect sense. I really thought it was really pretty good. I thought everybody, for the most part, across the board. Now, again, I went into this knowing who was going to be in the bottom. Mm-hmm. So I knew to kind of look at Bosco and Georges's performances with a little bit more of a fine-tooth comb. Mm-hmm. And I could see where they were both a little, to varying degrees, a little lower energy than everybody else was. Mm-hmm. But they weren't horrible. Mm-hmm. They were just they were okay compared to some performances that were really good. Well, yeah, I thought Deja's performance when she did the rap was really, really good.
Yeah. It was really good. I mean, she chose her role wisely, but I'm just saying she didn't have to do that. She didn't have to drop that right then. You know, but RuPaul says this when she's doing the judges. She says that they all did a good job and they were really trying to go over it with a fine-tooth comb and whatnot. So,
yeah.
My only complaint was with the Rusical itself. I thought it was a little long. You know, we didn't have, once we met the characters, maybe a little number together, but then it became this whole thing and too much Leland.
Is Leland the new Todrick? Is this going to be where we get this Leland?
No, he's not Todrick because he's not like mean to the girls, but I will say, who he's closer to actually, which is funny because the role he's taken up, he's closer to Lucien, where I feel like Lucien started more in the background. You didn't really notice him. And then Lucian started to get more and more attention. And then Lucian started to pull this kind of shit too. You know what's always funny is if you look at the CoverGirl video, for some reason they made Twinkie Lucian like the hot guy going, CoverGirl, put the bass in your walk. And you see this little twink with it, and you're like, no. You know?
Well, but he was the producer of it. And that was really before, you figure CoverGirl came out right before season 1. So you know that they filmed that video for about $14.
Yeah. The biggest budget was renting that car or something. But but in this one, it was like, so he's starting to do that thing now. He wants to be famous. He wants to be known. And I don't know how it works getting him on there with the production. And I'm sure he'll post something on social media, maybe, where it's like, guys, I really didn't want to do it. It was just like, and you're like, Look, if they came to me, I'd be like, no. Yeah. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do that. No.
Well, but you also figure he is somebody who is a producer and singer on his own. Mm-hmm. So, and then this is an opportunity for, I mean, ultimately part of the reason that they do this is for promotion. So he's promoting that he can do these things. And there is somebody out there that will think, oh, he's somebody that we could get, and he has the, drag race cachet behind him. So it might just be that was the case. I don't know.
Yeah, but it's one of these things where he's a puka shell necklace away from being Baby New Year 2001, where like the bleach blonde hair, he's kind of like he's Gay Fieri.
Gay Fieri.
Yeah. And
like his undershirts all still say Hollister, or they have the American Eagle logo on them.
American Eagle. Yeah, exactly. He's wearing the big belt buckle with a shirt tucked in behind it, and he has a Von Dutch hat. Anyway, I just thought it was a little long. It was fine, but everything else was fine. Any other thoughts on the Rusical, Taylor?
No.
Well, I have a big announcement before we get into the looks. We have a very special guest, Taylor. Taylor's giving me a bit. I don't know why. Taylor, we have a very special guest today. We've never had him on the show before.
Okay.
He's my brother from another mother. Give it up for our very own Ross Matthews.
Ross!
Hi, everybody. It's me, Ross Matthews. What are you guys doing?
How are you doing, Ross?
Oh, I'm doing fine. Let me tell you. First, I like to go to Palm Springs, and I like to have a bunch of people just lay on top of me and then think of my home. But how are you doing, Taylor?
Oh, I'm doing great. I enjoy that too. Only on the East Coast, not the West Coast.
Well, you know how it is with me. Anyway, Taylor, I'm here to talk about the looks.
Oh, okay.
We brought Ross on here to talk about the looks.
Okay, excellent.
So we'll get his opinion as we go,
All right, so do we want to just go over the way we normally do, or are we just like the ones we like the best and the ones that we didn't like?
Yeah, it's just, you know what we're going to do is we're going to have you give the ones that you like, because we don't have all that kind of time, Taylor. So what we're going to do, we're going to have you give the ones you liked first, and then Ross will comment on them.
Okay. So I am going to say that my favorite look I have three favorite looks. The first of which was Bosco's, because it was very Mugler inspired and very silent film, Metropolis, metallic, robot lady. Even though it is a silhouette that we've seen with Bosco before, I loved it when she came out in that outfit.
Yeah. Ross, what do you think of that? Okay, well, thank you, Ross.
Okay. I enjoyed Willow's look. I thought Willow's look was really great. I loved the whole kind of bicentennial Joan Jett hair with the rockets, the rocket and the star behind her. I thought that was a fun look for Willow.
Oh, I love the choice Taylor just made. That's my favorite kind of choice. I think he did an amazing job.
All right, thank you, Ross.
And speaking of a 70s inspired look, my favorite look was Diabetes. I loved the outfit. It was full drag, which Kiss is kind of drag. And I thought she did a really great job we knew exactly who she was when she came around the corner. And it was a great night for Diabetes.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you, Ross.
So the two looks that I liked the least, and this one may be controversial. I did not like Angeria's look. There was something about it that I did not like the construction of it. Mm-hmm. My husband loved it. He was like, "Oh, that's so pretty," and I'm like, "Meh." But it just wasn't my favorite look of hers. I feel like she's had much better looks.
Okay, Ross.
The other look that I did not like was Deja Skies. It was not Mirror Mirror. It was holographic, and it was not flattering in any way. So, and I don't get the weird little like Adventure Time crown on her head either. So that was my other look that I really, really did not like. I had not thought of that. That's a great point, Ross. Thank you so much for bringing that up.
Thank you.
That was very astute of you.
Yeah, thank you. Well, thank you, Ross. That was really nice of you. Did you have any other thoughts on this, Taylor?
No, that's it. That's it.
Well, Ross, do you have any last word before we let you go? All right, Ross. Well, thank you much for being here. Maybe we'll see you next time here on Drag Race Recap. All right, Taylor, that's everything about the looks?
That's everything about the looks.
All right. Well, those are the looks. All right. On the main stage, RuPaul names Lady Camden the winner of the challenge and asks the girls who should go home. Later, RuPaul places Bosco and Georges in the bottom two, forcing them to face off in a lip-sync battle for their lives. The song, Heartbreak Hotel, the Hex Hector remix by Whitney Houston. In the end, Georges wins the lip-sync, but Bosco reveals a gold bar, which prevents her elimination. Taylor Latte Boy, any final thoughts on the episode?
I feel like they were reaching for, as we talked about, they were definitely splitting hairs. Mm-hmm. But the one comment that Michelle said of you could have gone so much bigger. Like the sneezes, you could have gone bigger with the sneezes. I'm like, how much bigger could she have gone with the sneezes unless she shit her pants on stage? I mean, it was just, that to me was a ridiculous statement on Michelle's part.
Yeah.
The other thing, and this is sort of one of those, I would encourage people who have watched the show to go back to, I think, after the last commercial break, mm-hmm. There is something going on with the sound with Rue's voice.
Oh, really?
Which her voice sounded weird. I don't know if it was weird. It almost sounds like they were purposely like modulating her voice in some way.
Who would ever do that on a show? That's ridiculous.
No, I know. Who would ever do that on a show? I have seen a lot of comments about Georges's read of Bosco on the who would go home, who should go home kind of thing. And everybody's saying that was very funny. And it was fun to see a little bit of drama between some of them. You know, it just felt like we haven't really had any real drama. But even then, when you go to Untucked, you were kind of expecting there to be a fight, and it was very much of we know you had to say a name. I'm not taking it personally. It just this was the first Untucked that really I just kind of scrolled through my phone the whole time. Like I was not really paying attention to it at all. And I normally am a big fan of Untucked. As far as the gold bar goes, I'm glad Bosco got it. As I said, I am Team Bosco. Mm-hmm. I just want I just want this season to move along, and it feels like it is not moving.
Yeah.
It feels like we are still staying at the same spot.
I will say, from a television point of view, I don't understand what is going on, why they're doing that. These are very, very, very strange choices they're making. Again, it's a word I used earlier, but I think it's hubris. I think it's 100% hubris. And I think what can often happen is you surround yourself with yes men, and they are living in a vacuum where they don't realize that this pisses off the fandom. That we're just going to do what we want, and they no longer care about whether it affects the show or not. In other words, they think it's a great idea, and there's no one that tells them it's not a great idea.
Well, and I would say, in theory, if we were all still trapped in our houses, it could potentially have been a good idea. And I was thinking about this last night as far as we talk about how much the show is formulaic and that you can see the beats coming a mile a minute. So I get why a bunch of them all sat in story editors or whatever have sat in a room with the whiteboard and have written out what are things we could do to kind of mix things up. And an example would be last year's lip sync off on the very first episode. I watched another video about this yesterday. In theory, that's a great idea. The problem with that though is we weren't attached to those characters yet. They were just random people that we were watching lip sync. And what you were doing is at that moment, you were watching 7 girls' dreams be crushed over the course of an hour. And it was exhausting, and it wasn't necessarily as fun. I think the idea of the chocolate bar, somebody thought, oh, that's a really good idea. But then for whatever reason, the application of it has just been tedious. But at this point, they filmed the season. There's nothing they can do about it. Seeing some of the stuff that people say on Twitter, I hope that there are producers that are reading all of these and recognizing how much people are just tired, how much fatigue people have, and that they are doing things to kind of bring it back to the Drag Race that we love with just some tiny tweaks. We don't need these huge new rules. We just need tiny little tweaks every once in a while to make it interesting. I saw an infographic that at this point in the season, Bob had already won.
He wasn't a shortened season, but yes. Yeah,
but still, by 3 or 4 episodes, he had already won.
Yeah.
That's crazy. When you see something online like Survivor 42 is just starting. And I'm like, God, 42, how could there be 42 episodes? I just saw another thing that said there have been, over the course of all of the different seasons, there have been 33 seasons of Drag Race between the international ones, between All Stars, over the course of 12 years. That's insane. That is absolutely insane.
I actually think the exhaustion comes from not eliminating people. Like, in other words, if they would have had more queens, let's say they had 16 queens, 17 queens, 18 queens, but you were eliminating people every week, I'm not saying people wouldn't be exhausted, but it wouldn't be this heavy of an exhaustion. It's just we want to see people eliminated. We want to we want to feel like we're making progress. And it feels like we're spinning our wheels in the mud. And so I don't know. I don't know. It was a very, very weird choice. And it's very, very strange. It's not good. I don't know why they're doing that. I don't know why. I really would love to. I would love to have an honest conversation with someone on the business side of this about the logic here, because I'm going to tell you something. As someone who knows people who work on the business side of this shit, I'm talking about the numbers. I'm not talking about creative. I'm talking about business side of this. They know what they're doing. They know exactly, they have data like you wouldn't believe, and they make decisions based on that data. So I would love to know the data of what is the basis for this decision. Because what would happen is the producers would say, we want to do something like this. And then that person would be like, no, you can't, because the numbers say this, Yeah. How is this getting through that? I don't know. I really don't know.
I also think that it would be different if they weren't eliminating people and we were getting drama.
Yes.
Out of it. There has been if we were getting situations like, Candy versus Tamisha every week, and they weren't sending people home, and then that pissed somebody off because the closest we came to that was that she didn't get rid of Jasmine, and Daya was pissed about it. But if that had been a situation in which, like, they didn't get rid of Tamisha that week, and then we knew there was going to be more fights with Candy, like in season 13, then that would be something where, okay, well, now I've got something to watch. But this whole walking with children in nature everywhere and nobody's leaving for it. It's like progress, exactly what you said. Yeah. We need to see some sort of progress and feel like we're getting to some place. Because at this point, it doesn't feel like we've seen the light at the end of the tunnel yet.
No, it doesn't. Even though I know there is, it's still, you're like, oh, God, Jesus Christ. All right, well, that's going to do it for this week's episode of RuPaul's Drag Race Recap. Be sure to join us.
A show we love. A show we absolutely love.
Yeah, be sure to join us next week and seemingly every week as we continue to discuss, dissect, and deconstruct each brand new episode of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 14. So, for Taylor the Latte Boy and myself,
sashay away for every week for the rest of your life.
Thank you for listening to RuPaul's Drag Race Recap. Have something to say? Email us at dragracerecap@afterthought.media. You can also leave us a voicemail at speakpipe.com/afterthoughtmedia. For more Drag Race and LGBTQ content, support us on Patreon at patreon.com/afterthoughtmedia. Taylor has another podcast. It's called Pod Is My Co-Pilot, and you can find it wherever you get your podcasts. You can follow Taylor the Latte Boy on Instagram and Twitter at PIMCTaylor. Follow Joe Betance on Instagram and Twitter at Joe Betance. This episode was produced by Luke Stamen and Zach Birch. Very special thanks to these expensive tier Patreon supporters: Agnesia Shopinska, April Pacheco, Astute Girl, Brad Coley, Coco San Pedro, Declan Prosser, Drew Brooks, E. Smith, Emma, Humble Pie, J. Thomas Plank, Jesse Harris, Lauren Eckert, Lionel Campbell, Lucy Carrasco, Luke Stamen, Nicholas Springham, Poppy Woods, Ricardo Herrera, Sarah Yu, Tom Bombs, Travis Newland, Troy Anderson, Zach Nelson, Corinna Williamson, Elizabeth Timmer, Nikki Baker, Robert NYC, David Olson, and Alexandra Sixt. Drag Race Recap is an Afterthought Media podcast.